We're the developer of Subway Surfers, and I've before that got like 7+ years of user acquisition experience, working at companies like Social Point and Nanobit.
Hey guys, I'm Yoav. I work in mobile marketing since 6 years, first as an employee for companies such as Facebook, Social Point, Outplay. In the last years, I'm an independent consultant for marketing and monetization. And since 1 year, I'm also the founder of Fun Studio, developing word games for mobile. So both Farhan and I have quite a broad perspective over the mobile marketing industry. So we wanted to talk about some of the things we find in common for bigger and smaller companies. Hope it will be useful.
So here we go. We're going to talk about running effective marketing campaigns from the experience we've had. These are some of the range of titles that we've worked on within our careers. We're going to talk about the common mistakes to avoid, the topical trends in the market, and the learnings we've found from large user acquisition budgets and like the pitfalls and stuff to avoid.
And it will also be great if we could have some questions later on, because it's obviously a too broad topic to cover in such a short time.
Yeah, we'll try and keep the talk quite short so that you can ask questions afterwards. So we'll crack on. So this first slide's about, we thought it's important to include because one of the key things is understanding what a UA person does. And for like CEOs and C-level, when they're employing a UA person, like who should they look for in the market? So one of the things is, an obvious one is someone with an entrepreneurial business mindset. So obviously the UA guy is going to be the one spending a large proportion of the company's money. I think most games businesses spend around 35% of their revenue on UA. So obviously you have to, that's crucial because that's going to be driving the revenue and profit of the company. So obviously a very analytical person is required for a good UA manager. And then the next point is about the creativity. So not only how strong a creative is in terms of conversion, but also the thinking of the UA person needs to be kind of out of the box, strategic approach that is tailored to the company they work for, not just copying what their friend in another business does, but actually thinking strategically how to be, how to do UA for that specific product. And then a UA guy needs to be someone who can multitask, essentially work with product, community, art, and analytics, and basically bring those divisions together and understand how each of those departments work well together. It's not just someone who focuses on that one field, but someone who works kind of across all those departments.
The last point is that I come across often as a consultant, so it's kind of my rule of thumb. So the busier the UA managers are, the easier my job is going to be. So UA managers, as Farhan said, should be very business-oriented, growth-oriented, and for this we must have time to think. And if your UA managers are working 8 or 9 hours a day, reporting, managing 10 or 15 networks, it's going to be hard to think outside of the box and to get good results.
So obviously UA marketing, performance marketing, you need to start out early on, right? So, but the key thing is like what we want to talk about is that when you're building a product, when you're building a mobile app or a game, it's really important to get your product out in the market as quickly as possible. Don't spend 2 to 3 years in production and then realize it's not going to fly on the market. And then based on those learnings, try and pivot your product to see how the market, depending on how the market reacts to it, rather than try to. Both Yoav and I worked at Social Point, and I was working on new products out there. We didn't really adapt the product to the market. We kind of just